But first of all, he was on at the beginning of the season to talk about the remarkable fall, then rise of Luton Town, because it's been one hell of a roller coaster. And for those of us of a certain vintage, we'll remember that Luton Town often belong in the old First Division. They belong at the top level of the game. But the last 25 or so years have been rather cruel to Luton Town. They've been through the mire, but they've found their way back, and this exciting venture continues with their chairman now here on TalkTV. Please welcome David Wilkinson. David, once again, thanks very much for coming on TalkTV, the Sunday Night Club.
Pleasure, Jonny. Nice to see you again.
It's nice to have you on the show. David, how is your season going? Again, I think that the Tottenham defeat rather sums up the season so far, that you give your all, that you are there for 75 or 80 minutes of a game, and then finally at the end of the game, just that little bit of quality that you succumb to has seen you not get reward in a game perhaps that you deserve to.
Yeah, they're a fantastic group, and we're extremely proud of them all. What really, I think our sympathy at the moment is with Rob Edwards and his staff, because he's doing a fantastic job, but we've got half a squad basically injured, which makes life pretty difficult. Yes, you're right about the sort of last minute stuff, but you know, at the beginning of the season, we were given no hope by sort of rather bitter pundits.
Not me. I said
no.
you finished fourth bottom, and I thought that was a nice thing to say.
It was nice.
Didn't mean that to be negative, but I was just...
There were those who thought we'd break the low points record, and...
No, Aston Villa did that in 2016.
Relegated by Christmas.
You'd never be as bad as Villa were in 2016, honestly.
That's right. But we've got twice as many as the worst ever, so that's not a bad start.
Okay.
And we've given, apart from the very beginning of the season, when we had a couple of early season games, I think Brighton and Chelsea were two away from home early on. We've given everybody a game. You know, we've really not been outplayed very often this season. We've had a bit of bad luck, and now we've got some bad luck with injuries. But we've got 8 games left, and I think we can still do it.
So it's 24 points. You're not going to get 24 points, but the target must be about between what? 10 and 12? Is that a big ask?
8 games, something like that. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, something like that, I guess. We've got a difficult game coming up on Wednesday with Arsenal, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then our away games are going to be tough, because after that it's Manchester City. We've got to do something in the home games which are coming.
You lost 3-4 at home to Arsenal, didn't you, in a game earlier on the season, and that really typified you for me. I was so gutted for you to score 3 against a title-chasing side of the quality of Arsenal, and to concede 4, to lose like that at the end of the game.
And it was a last minute, near after last minute.
Yeah,
goal.
It's kind of the story of Luton that you haven't quite
and
got.
And it was, the Liverpool game at home was the same. That was the last minute goal to draw. Yeah, it's been that way.
I've got this statement from Nick Owen, who is a friend of mine, a friend of yours, and obviously one of Luton's most celebrated fans, of course, presenter of BBC Midlands Today. Luton have done so well this season, Johnny, really entertained, but just not had quite enough to win matches. Our injury situation is beyond ridiculous, with 10 senior players out minimum, but the fans have been superb. And by the way, he's doing very well, thanks. I'm pleased to hear that. Nick, sending you our best wishes here at TalkTV. So let's talk about one of the stars of this season, and I am absolutely delighted that he has made such an impact, because every Everton, Chelsea and Aston Villa fan will tell you there's a player in Ross Barkley. What is it about Luton Town and Rob Edwards that has actually made Ross Barkley perform at the level that we expected, that we wanted from him? He's a really very fine player, but at Everton, at Chelsea and at Villa, he kind of disappeared down a rabbit hole and never came back.
Well, we do have quite a special group in the management, in the dressing room, and on the training pitch. And I think from what I know is that Ross feels comfortable. I
Yeah.
think it a lot of senior players who come here, I think Andros has found the same coming here.
Yeah.
That they both feel comfortable and we let them play. And from my point of view, I mean, Ross, I think it's my 65th season as supporting Luton. And Ross is the best player I have seen in a Luton shirt. And we've had some good players.
Well, you've had Brian Steen. I hope Brian's not watching.
He might be, but he was different. Brian was a different place.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
And Ricky Hill, of course, was slightly different.
I know you've got to send out your apologies now. No. Sorry, Steve Foster. Sorry about that. Sorry, Bruce Rioch.
Oh, different positions.
I know. Sorry, Futcher Brothers. No, but you're right. And of course, this is the highest level that Luton have ever played at as well. Are you a bit disappointed that he hasn't had the England recognition, that perhaps if Ross had put on a top 8 shirt, that he'd been a Spurs or Villa or still at Chelsea kind of player, that actually he might have been a bit nearer Gareth's thoughts for the European Championship?
I think a lot of us felt watching the game the other day that it would have made a big difference if he'd been there then.
Yeah. First name on the team sheet.
Yes.
Absolutely. But he's your first name on the team sheet, isn't he?
He would be, yes.
Absolutely superb. How is the Bobbers stand going? And because you had to rebuild that, you spent £12 million getting everyone up to shipshape and Bristol fashion, all sorts of new camera angles to accommodate the Premier League television rights. Still got to walk up through the back-to-back houses to get in. It's a fantastic traditional Kenilworth Road that we still know and love. How's it been in the top flight? Does it creak at the sides, or have you really accommodated
it's
the highest level? Has it been brilliant? Great atmosphere as well.
So many grounds disappoint in the Premier League, atmosphere-wise. Mm-hmm. It's inexplicable, really. Gary and his team have done a fantastic job. But we've now got our capacity up to getting close to 12,000 from 10 and a bit when we went up. And it now looks like a football stadium again without the beach huts, And it's working really well, and it's a great place to be. We're going to miss it when we move.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that now because Power Court is still on the agenda, very much so. It's going to be halfway between, I think, St Mary's Church and the Arndale Centre, so it's absolutely slap bang in the town centre. And it's going to help Luton develop a new personality, which always surprises me that a town like Luton should need one, because it is the most well-connected town of any place in the whole country, with its airport, with its industry, with its countless motorways, with London just 25 miles down the road. But if Luton Town can represent soft power for the town, you will bring literally billions of pounds worth of investment into the town by being its greatest ambassador.
Yes. It's hard to understand. I mean, we may have mentioned before that most of our board were actually born in the town, which is pretty unique when it comes to football these days.
The Luton Lions.
The investors and the managers are all Lutonians.
Amazing.
So the town matters to us, and one of the reasons that Gary and his staff now working hard on detailed planning, but one of the reasons that we fought so hard to get the stadium in the middle of town, and as you say, it's close to St Mary's and it's between two stations, is because we want it to be in the heart of the community, which so few clubs are now, and it is. And over the recent past, with Ramadan going on, we're getting involved with a lot of the Muslim community and everything. It really working, and the Premier League's helping that because it attracts attention from places that people that wouldn't normally perhaps be interested in football. It's exciting. And as I say, Gary and his team are working really, really hard at the moment on getting the final details of the stadium put together. and then we'll get on with it.
What's the capacity?
Started moving the Earth at the moment. But
really, the Earth has started to. The Earth is moving for you, David. That's great news.
Because it's a complicated site because it's got the River Lee running through the middle of it.
Right.
And it has a big electricity substation on it, which has got to be moved, and which they've started to, or are starting to move fairly soon. I don't get involved, as you know, day to day, but that's what I understand. But it's an exciting place, and it's a fabulous site. And it's right in the middle of town. It'll make so much difference.
It will make an enormous difference. It will bring amazing footfall to the town centre in every sense. A little bit like Newcastle United. I've got this vision of how Newcastle United is slap bang in the centre of their city as well. And what's the capacity that you're hoping for?
We're going to start at just 22, 23,000, and it's going to be expandable to 25.
Okay.
Which I think we're happy with.
Now, obviously, we're all gunning for you as neutrals to stay up, but if you don't, and you succumb to relegation, it's very harsh. Three teams are down, of course, at the end of every season. You have the prospect of a parachute, which, in theory, should keep you near the top of the Championship, and Leicester and Leeds are an example of that. Ipswich are the outliers in the sense that they've come up from League One and they're going grey guns, back-to-back championships for the first time since Sir Alf Ramsey is on the prospects, and they lead the division. But then that's not perhaps a surprise given the magnitude and history of Ipswich Town as a football club. But you're the same. I think Luton and Ipswich are similar in many ways. And just wondering, I mean, I know this is sort of hypothetical. You are a Premier League side and we've got 8 games left, but you will have the parachute and you'll be one of the richer big guns in the Championship next season. So in theory, you can keep the band together, can't you?
I would hope so. I mean, the whole point of 2020, which is the group that we are that bought the club back in 2008. Was to make it self-sustainable, and it can't be that at Kenilworth Road, unfortunately, because I love the place and a lot of other people love the place, but it can't be self-sustainable there. But with a 25,000-seat stadium and all the associated stuff that goes with it, because we've got music venues and all sorts of other stuff that will go along with it, and we will become self-sustainable. We don't want to be a club that needs outside investment just to keep going, that borrows money which it can't pay back, like we did in the past, which is we learnt the lessons from our points deduction all those years ago, and it put our feet on the ground, and hopefully we won't make those mistakes again. Well, we won't make those mistakes again. So if we go down, yes, we've got that, but we've also got the other developments that are going on to make the club better and cater for more people, and be more of a earn more money,
a bit more of a holistic business. Because this is the thing about clubs who have smaller stadia in smaller towns, like for example Bournemouth or Huddersfield Town in history. They would massively rely on the television money to the point where it's like 95% of their revenue. Do you have a target with which not to rely on television? So, for example, we'd like 20% of our income to come from match day or concerts or stadium hire or assorted other income streams, merchandise, etc. Eric Morecambe glasses.
I can't give you the exact number. I don't have it. But yes, they do. We do have numbers. We do have a plan. It has been in place all the way along. We are fortunate that we got the Premier League probably rather sooner than we expected.
Amazing, absolutely.
And so that's made it slightly easier for us, of course. And even if we get relegated, which of course we don't believe we will, but if we get relegated, again, as you say, we've got parachute money and other things. So, yeah, we're okay. And we're not like some other nameless clubs who have gone gung-ho to spend vast amounts of money to try and stay up and still may not,
Yeah, that's right.
We don't want to be that. We don't want to be that sort of club.
Let's pay tribute to your skipper, Tom Lockyer, who is currently out of the game because of that cardiac arrest he suffered at Bournemouth. Just spoke to Rob Earnshaw on the Welsh side, and he's sort of rather hoping that Tom might not have seen his last career game as a professional footballer, not just for Luton Town, but for Wales as well. With Christian Eriksen as inspiration, and his remarkable return to the highest level of football is there to be seen, with Brentford and then managing to get a big transfer to Manchester United, being the player of the quality he is. What chance Tom Lockyer, because he's still in his 20s, what chance Tom Lockyer could find his way back onto a football pitch with Luton Town?
Well, it's up to Tom and the doctors. I can't really tell you, but he is currently in rehab abroad, and he's working on it, and he will take advice, and he'll, work it out for himself. I mean, obviously, we hope that he does. We hope that he can, but not if there's any risk to him.
No, of course not.
And he's a wonderful bloke, and he is sensible enough to make the right decisions when the time comes, I think. But it's not going to be in the near future, I don't think.
No. Because you look at Christian Eriksen and it's like nothing happened. I can't believe how strong he is.
Yeah.
And he's an older man than Tom as well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously different hearts, different conditions. The collapse was similar, but they're different situations. I mean, without going into too much detail, has it caused ventricle damage or whatever damage in the heart that is irreparable, or is it something that he can, as a muscle, grow harder, grow faster, grow better?
It's simply how the recovery goes. As far as I understand it, it's all down to, the specialists now and Tom to see how the recovery goes and whether it is possible. I mean, we're seeing, aren't we, in other ways, how intense football is these days.
Yeah.
We're seeing it from our injury list, for example. Yeah. But being in the Premier League is an intense, highly intense physical thing, and may or may not be able to do it when the time comes. But it'll be up to him and the doctors to decide whether it's possible.
We wish Tom every success in however way his life and career continues. And David, I just want to thank you for coming on the show again. Just to confirm, Luton to stay, fourth bottom, 24 points to play for, 8 games left. I think every neutral would want Luton Town to stay up. Obviously, Everton, Nottingham Forest fans, Sheffield United fans might feel differently, but certainly I am gunning for the Hatters to stay up. They were my season's prediction to stay up and finish fourth bottom. David Wilkinson, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Luton Town in the Premier League once again, as they were back in the 1980s, with such distinction.